Hi, I'm Matt with Schematical, and today we're going to talk about how I used DynamoDB and figured out how to do a date sort, but I had to throw in an extra technology. It was Redis. DynamoDB is an amazing technology because it's sharded by default. So partitioned, however you want to say it, so you could scale it horizontally infinitely without killing your compute power. But it comes with its limitations and how you can query that stuff. It's a bit tricky. So I know I could have added a global secondary index and all that stuff, but I'll show you how I did it using Redis. And initially I did it with serverless Redis, but if you read my posts, AWS did something tricky there, a little underhanded. I wasn't in love with it. So I think they botched it on the serverless Redis pricing. I'm sure they've got their reasons, but I switched to a Redis instance and saved, I think I was paying $90 a month, and now I'm down to like 11 bucks a month for Redis. So without further ado, let's dive right in. So if you're not familiar with this interface, this is my diagramming tool. Though you might, if you've been a long time watcher, you might notice this. This is a theme I picked up, and so just ignore that there. I've rewired it to the new theme instead of just into the schematical.com, but I'm not done by any means. So let's zoom on in. So this is my infrastructure right there. That is a request coming in from the internet. It hits the API gateway and receives it, and it invokes a Lambda. This Lambda right here asks Redis for the sorted list. So S members. You know what? I should have put the command in there. S members. We'll go through the commands later. And it gets a list of sorted members or sorted IDs. And you could store the whole thing in there, but if you're going to have multiple indexes, it doesn't make sense to put the whole thing in there. And when I was using serverless, it is expensive per gigabyte. So it doesn't make sense to do that. So you could use sorted IDs. I also, in all reality, I'm doing sorted IDs and the title, but we'll just imagine it was just the sorted ID. So it returns that list there, and that uses the IDs to query the DynamoDB record in full. And that responds with the full records right there from DynamoDB. And now we respond with JSON. We're actually using GQL right now. And there we go. So that is how that works. If you want to see it just in the regular flowchart view, so this is the beauty of that software, is that I defined this swim lane flowchart, and it basically flows the same way, so you could see if you'd prefer to view it. So you can see a request comes in, API gateway receives it, Lambda pings Redis for the list of IDs, that responds with a list of sorted IDs. So actually I can, I forgot I even did this. I can put in all the GQL here, so I'll try and get that up and running for you. Check the show notes or a pinned comment on this video. I'll make this downloadable as well, so you can download this whole thing and get the flowchart static version of it as well. There's the download button. Hey, it downloaded. Let's look at the code. So I only have one key because this is truth be told, I'm using this for my blog. And I wanted to have a paginated sorted blog, and that's not one of DynamoDB's strong points. But luckily, the S members command and all the sorted lists that are in Redis, we can use that to do this. And if you are running a large site, I've built large search engines before with many indexes. This is exactly how I'd recommend doing your indexes is S members and Redis, because Redis by default is pretty shardable or partitionable, so it scales really nicely horizontally because you got to look up everything by one key and one key only, so it makes it really easy. Here we go, get posts. All right, each member has a score in a sorted Redis member list. So we needed to create a score, and that score is basically year, month, day. I don't blog multiple times a day. Heck, I have trouble blogging daily, so it's not more frequent than that. So the score is just the day. You could add more to it if you wanted as well. Then you get a Z range, so that basically gets us a range of, I've been saying S this whole time, I meant Z. I don't know what I'm talking about. Z, sorry. Z. Oh my gosh. So we go for the Z range, we give it the key, and this should have a list of scores there. So we say that we want this score, buy one reverse, and you can see we're limit 0, 1. So that's the latest post array. And so we get the rank of the latest post, and that's the start position there. The reason I did this little tricky math up here is because I actually want to be able to pre-plan out my posts. So we may want to find, what this is for today's date. So we find all the ones that are already released, not the ones that are in the future. So this kind of skips that right there. We get the rank of the latest post that is out there. That's year, month, a day, and that's our start position in there. So next time we do the Z range, we go ahead and we can add the pagination here. So it offsets it for pagination. So if I pass in page 2, page 3, page 4, that'll offset the actual start. And you can see I'm multiplying it by page size here, and then we get the end. And so right there, we just want the range from the start to the end -1, start -1. And I can make this code available if you want it. It's a little over-engineered for your basic stuff, but it should do the trick. And I have a way to query all of them. If you're smart, you'll be able to query my posts ahead of time now. Well done. And then right here, you can see that I can populate the Dynamo. So now I've got all the IDs right there. I did call them post because they have the title in there as well. There's a little bit extra data. I now can use the data inside the post, specifically the post ID and the public date, which the public date is the sort key on this one. Is it the sort key? It is. I structured that a little bit weird. This is one of my earlier Dynamo projects, so I just didn't feel like rewriting that. And then you see here we got a batch get, and we go ahead and run that get, and we map all the posts return to that, and we can return the post. Now it's only if I want to populate Dynamo. I can also just not populate Dynamo and use the title and the ID combination and render it that way. So it makes it so I don't have to hit Dynamo on a list screen. Would I recommend that for a really big production database? Maybe not. It depends on the situation. So the answer is, it depends. That is how I managed to sort by date with DynamoDB using Redis as well. If you only want to use DynamoDB, I'm sure it's doable. I just know it's not optimized for it out of the box. And I like doing my indexes in Redis. It's lightning fast. It shards and partitions really well. It's incredible. If you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out to me. Hop on the Discord. I'm almost always on Discord. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. I also consult on this stuff, so if you're at all interested in engaging my consulting services, check out schematicalconsulting.com or my main site, schematical.com. They're both pretty much intertwined. So yeah, that is all I've got for today. Looking forward to hearing from you guys. Let me know what else you want to see on the channel. Cheers.